look, boy. Them girl got him for Mark. And when me meet him Terry night, the boy give me a shock.
Hi there, I'm Adrian Atkinson, welcoming you to this Sunday edition of Jamaica Magazine that's mixed with a touch of heritage with business as brata. We have a wonderful lineup just for you, so please sit back, relax, and don't move a muscle. On today's edition of Get the Facts, we speak with a beneficiary of the Development Bank of Jamaica's Ignite 3 program.
Welcome to Get the Facts. This is the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm Theodore Henry. The Development Bank of Jamaica, the DBJ for short, has a range of products and services that allow MSMEs to access grants, loans, and technical support with the aim of driving growth and development of this ecosystem. Today we speak with a beneficiary of Ignite 3, and this is a component of the Boosting Innovation, Growth and Entrepreneurship Ecosystems, BIGGE program, to hear how this financing has improved business. My guest is creative entrepreneur Kian Hutchinson of Kian Patrice Photo Art Design. Welcome to the program, Ms. Hutchinson.
Thank you for having me.
And I know you want me to call you Kian, so we're doing that from here on out.
Okay.
All right, let's get the facts. Photo art design. What got you into photo art design?
All right. So I started out in photography actually, and I remember being gifted a camera a really, really long time ago, and that started the journey.
Right.
So through photography, I remember starting to experiment with creative, photo editing, and that led me down the rabbit hole that eventually led to digital art. So abstract art, different types of photo manipulation, etc.
Okay.
And so that was my journey in a nutshell.
All right, started with being gifted a camera. But how did you say, I want to do business with this? So you like art, but business?
Yeah. So I think that was a pretty organic evolution. I remember so funny story, the business part of it actually started through animal photography because completely random. So I adore dogs.
Right.
And I had a dog and I wanted some amazing pictures. And of course, my photographer friends would be, oh no, I'm not wasting time taking a picture of your dog. So I was like, I do it myself.
Right.
And then I started thinking other people would probably want this. And so I started to kind of advertise and kind of tell people, okay, I'm doing this. And then people took it seriously and started, saying, well, how much do I charge? And then I kind of said, oh, I should charge. And so that kind of, spearheaded that.
All right, so you started photography and you got interested in digital design. At what point did you say, I need some financial assistance?
So a friend of mine who is actually in the entrepreneurial space, she told me about DBJ and the Ignite program, the Ignite grant.
Right.
And I remember at the time I had wanted to kind of, scale up some of my equipment. And when she told me about it, I said, if I managed to get this grant, that could absolutely, jumpstart the next level in the creative process, right? Because then I'd have greater capacity. So as I said, my friend told me about it, and I remember thinking, there's no way that I'll get this. But she said, just try. I mean, what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
And here I am.
Here you are. You said capacity a while ago, and I want to zoom in on that word because you mentioned this camera, you mentioned photographing your dog, and now you're not photographing dogs anymore or animals. You're in hotels. You're doing murals. So, how did the support improve the efficiency of your operation?
So I remember, when I had the thrust to kind of start doing larger scale work, I was limited by the equipment that I had because programs would be crashing on the computer that I had. You know, the camera, because some of my work I use photography as a base. I mean, at the end point you probably wouldn't realize that, but that's the base. And if I'm working larger, I need to be able to have larger outputs.
Wait, let me just jump in here.
Yes.
Hold that point.
Yes.
Larger. Define larger for me. We're not talking about the difference between a photo and a poster.
No.
We're
talking about, you know, 8 feet by 20 feet, or larger than that sometimes. So it's objectively large. I mean, everything is subjective, I suppose, but I think reasonably people would consider, you know, 20 feet wide pretty large.
So things that can print big.
Yes.
All right. Yes, you were telling us about the constraints.
So the grant absolutely helped me to jumpstart that efficiency, to improve that efficiency, because I was limited by the equipment I had prior. Things would crash, programs would crash. You know, the cameras wouldn't be able to output the large scale images that I needed to create this work.
Right.
And so having had the grant, which afforded me to access and to buy all of these things that I needed, you know, oh my gosh, I can't even think, because they cost, you know, significant money, especially for us just starting out business.
Because you're getting everything pretty much.
Yeah. And keep in mind, it's a grant, it's not a loan. Huge difference there.
All right. So having gotten this grant, you are now able to deal with larger work. I'm making sure I'm getting the words right. And efficiency is improved. Consistency as well as a business. Because what's different about being someone doing art for yourself and a business providing a service?
Oh, everything. Deadlines, multiple jobs at one time. And so if you have equipment, so as an example, I do 99% of my work on my iPad Pro. And the version that I had prior to this one, you know, it would sometimes take long to render things. It would freeze up midway, and so each individual work's process would take longer because of those constraints. So now when I have equipment that can keep up with what I need, I can multitask, I can get things out faster, and then that enables me to work in greater scale, you know, to have to get things out faster as well.
So like me, you can have 80 tabs open and render a picture and probably edit a little video over there. Right. I'm getting that. So, you know, I find it interesting talking to a creative entrepreneur because, you know, oftentimes when we hear about entrepreneurship, it's about hiring people and doing processes. But you used Ignite to build the capacity to do the kind of work that you wanted to do.
Absolutely.
So the vision was important.
And that's something that I would really want to underscore. I think going in, and to be fair, the process itself, the support that the whole grant structure afforded me was to help me to become even more clear as to what my intention was.
Right.
And so to structure everything around that.
All right. I'm going to stop you right there. The government, through the DBJ, is providing access to financing for MSMEs. And there are different products available based on the stage of your business. And as we are getting the facts right now, the kind of business. The conversation with Ms. Hutchinson, Kian, continues on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica. Original.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We are continuing our conversation with creative entrepreneur Kian Hutchinson of Kian Patrice Photo, Art and Design. So, we closed our previous segment talking about the support that the DBJ and through the Ignite process gave you. And I want to talk about that some more, because when we hear the Ignite grant, we think money. But the DBJ has always said it's not just money. So,
True.
how did you, what was your process like? There's a few things you did and
Sure.
how they helped you.
Sure. Okay, so a starting point that I think is important is you as the entrepreneur rather, you don't approach DBJ directly. You go through what's called a business service intermediary. That's a BSI for short.
Right.
And that institution, there's a list of them that's approved by the DBJ.
I think that's on their website.
It is.
Right.
And you go through there to access the grant. And I think that's a really solid and a genius way of approaching the whole scenario, because the business service intermediary is really your point person, and they, in collaboration with DBJ, are your support. So I remember for me, it was okay, are you formalized?
Right.
Yes.
Register the business properly, name,
Register
trademark,
for everything.
Right.
They go through all of that. And also, it helped me to really start thinking in a business-oriented way, because yes, you have the money and the equipment that it bought, etc. But it forced you to kind of think around KPIs, right? It forced me to kind of have intention about things like, okay, how do I want to market my work? Where do I want my points of sale, so to speak, to be? Thinking not just locally, but overseas. So it really was a whole ecosystem that I think is extremely responsible. It's a responsible way of giving the grant, because you have all of these added support systems, added benefits to it, and it helps you to put the grant to judicious use, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're moving into the world of work. This is my business now. And did you find that transition a little jarring? I'm not doing art, I'm doing business.
All right, me personally, not really, just because. So fun fact, actually did my degree in pharmacy. So I had, I know, so it's kind of left and right brain situation happening. And I had experience in the corporate world. I had, that kind of background.
Okay.
So it wasn't jarring, but I remember now and then going, whoa, this is a lot more detailed than I thought it was gonna be. But it was good, because it forced me, it stretched me.
And the support was important in that.
For sure.
You had people who could give you advice, you ask questions, right? All right. So we'll have to talk about financing. We've been talking about financing, and it was important for you to be able to get these things, right? The business depends on it, right? And earlier in our interview, you mentioned vision. And I think that's an important part in this process. So the pathway from vision to financing, do you think that without the vision, knowing where you're going and what you want to do, perhaps you shouldn't look for financing just yet?
So my knee-jerk reaction was gonna be, oh, absolutely you shouldn't, but how Ignite is structured, they can help you find your vision along the way. So I think if you have even a rough idea of what you want to do, going through that whole ideation phase, they'll help you to fine-tune along the way. So even though my initial answer was going to be, oh, no, you shouldn't. You should have exactly clear what you want to do, A to Z.
Right.
No, they help you.
Okay. I wasn't trying to trap it, but I love how you answered that, because, sometimes it seems as if I don't know every nitty-gritty, there's no help. Entrepreneurship is a big thing by itself.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
So it's good that the DBJ is helping people to make their way.
And also, let me just say, in the context of entrepreneurship, don't be afraid to pivot, right? Because sometimes you go in thinking, oh, I want this. But you can change your mind along the way. So don't feel like whatever you start out, it's in stone, it's in cement, that you have to, no matter what comes, stick with this. There's some amount of pivoting that being an entrepreneur involves. So just keep that in the back of your mind, and they'll help you with that too.
Right, because that was the question I was going to ask. The DBJ allows for the creative process and the building process to happen like this. That's what you're saying. All right.
You still have to have a rough framework, right? But within it, you can absolutely just be transparent along the process.
It sounds like to get a grant with the DBJ or financing, you're getting a partner, not just money.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, Kian, we have had a pretty good conversation, and there's so much more we could talk about, but we're almost out of time. I don't want to stop this program without giving you that moment to speak directly to our guests. People who haven't necessarily considered digital art as a thing. This is your moment, this is your podium to speak directly to them. Just get something off your heart, encourage them. The floor is yours.
All right. I'd love to tell everyone that as a digital artist, I remember working overseas versus working here, and in Jamaica, people would tend to say, is digital art even legitimate art? What is that? And it was always kind of surprising to me, because I've never had to have that validation overseas. But I want to kind of say digital art is really just creating art through a digital means. So on your iPad, on your computer, on your phone, whatever, using technology to create it. And in my perspective, it really is just another tool. So in painting, you have acrylics, you have oil paints, you have watercolors. Digital is just another tool, and the artistry behind it is as valid as in any other type. And I want to add, it allows you to scale and to collab all across the world, because right now I'm working on 2 projects in Washington, D.C., and I'm right here doing it, right? So I think digital really adds that extra layer of collaboration to it. And all artists out there, it's all about just putting one foot in front of the other, and not trying to romanticize it and think that, it's, rose-colored glasses every day, all day, but just keep going. If you feel like this is your calling, just keep going.
And if I can tack on something there at the end, there is help.
There is help.
There is help. All right, for more information of the products and the services of the DBJ, you can always visit their website, dbankjm.com or thinkbiggie.com. This has been Get the Facts. Our guest has been creative entrepreneur Kian Hutchinson of Kian Patrice Photo Art Design. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. Take good care.
A key tenet of Jamaica's Vision 2030 goal tagline is to make the island the place of choice to do business. In this next feature, we explore how government intends to enhance security while increasing its footprint in the digital space through the implementation of a cashless system.
I was in London. I went out to have dinner, and I wanted to pay. I took the cash out, shiny cash, to pay. And they said to me the most polite King's English, "I'm sorry, we do not accept cash." Later that evening, after my work was done, I went to see the Bob Marley musical. I went to buy a souvenir after the show. Very excited, wanted to carry something I could take home. And how much for it? Oh, £5. I can afford that. Take out my cash to pay. I am sorry, we do not accept cash. Cash is just on its way out.
Adapting to cashless environments is quickly becoming the norm for personal and business transactions the world over, and Jamaica is no exception. There is a pressing need to explore innovative technologies to respond to the changes and ensure equitable access, and Jamaica found its solution, Jamdex. Jamaica's central bank digital currency, the world's first legal tender online money. Jamdex provides a safe, efficient, and convenient way to pay for goods and services digitally.
We are working to put in place the enabling framework to make digital payments and digital transactions a reality. Why? Because the digital economy is the future. Because it is more productive. What does more productive mean? It means we can do more things with the same amount of time. Rather than stand up in a long line to go and get your money or deposit your money, you just access it on your phone or through some other channel. So because of the productivity gains of digital, it becomes less costly. The digital space also allows for us to include more people in the economy. There was a time when we thought of this transition as just Amazon buy and sell. But the digital revolution is much more than that. The digital revolution 20 years later, 25 years later, has become a space, a separate space that we inhabit.
Jamdex, which is the digital version of the country's currency, has been operating through the Link app, which is currently the sole approved wallet provider for Jamdex and is made available through the National Commercial Bank, NCB. Anyone with Link will be able to do transactions using Jamdex with another Link wallet holder.
Jamdex allows 24/7 movement between the wallets. So if you have a Link wallet or you have a wallet at another financial institutions, through Jamdex you can move value from Link to the others.
So, how secure is this app?
Jamdex is a central bank digital currency. The benefit of it is that it is fiat, it is backed by the government, it has all the same protections, all the same controls that the minister will be putting in place to manage our currency. But as far as using, the latest, technological advances to secure and encrypt your data, all of that is present in Link. Another thing we take very seriously is managing your identity. So we put in all the same techniques there as well. We're using artificial intelligence to match your face against the document. We are checking your document against the government databases where available to make sure that the person who is signing up is the person who really should be using the wallet.
Jamaica's digital wallet solution has launched their newest feature, the ABM Cash In, Cash Out system. This feature will enable users to top up and withdraw from their Link wallets with NCB's ABM network island-wide. It is contactless, free, and will bring convenience to its users.
There are a lot of transactions that take place today, payments that are cash-based, which is suboptimal. And it's cash-based just because that is today the easiest way to get it done. And I think of things like some of the work programs, right, where people work at Christmas time and they make the place look good, and the government, through distribution mechanisms, all of those thousands and thousands of persons are paid cash. The Prime Minister stated as a goal that eventually we want that to be paid through CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency.
And just like that, it's easier to do business in Jamaica or Island Home, the place of choice, period.
As a nurse, my heart bleed for see the accident victims. Worse when blood and oxygen short. Ease the burden on our hospitals, no man. Please me I beg you no. Drive safe pon the road.
Mr. President, several countries in Latin America and the Caribbean are facing an epidemic of crime and violence. Since the pandemic and the disruption in education, challenges with mental health are being increasingly expressed in violent ways. The propensity to resolve conflict or cope with social and mental stresses through violence requires a public health response. And Jamaica has not only engaged in global initiatives such as the Partnership to End Violence Against Children, but we have recently empaneled a National Commission on the Prevention of Violence to advise the government on building out an articulated public health and social service response. However, the situation is exponentially complicated and exacerbated by the influx of illegal and unregistered small arms into our country. From organized transnational criminal enterprises to street-level gangs to the misguided youth in the inner city. The availability of guns is driving an ever-increasing homicide rate. In the same way that a war on drugs is being prosecuted, in which we have been faithful partners in policing what comes through our waters or leaves our shores, there now must be a war on guns. Jamaica does not manufacture guns, but our population suffers from the effects of widely available guns. The countries that manufacture weapons that are available to the public must implement stronger measures to ensure that those weapons do not end up on the streets and in the hands of people for whom they were not intended. In the same way that there is a concern about illegal drugs on the streets of the rich countries, there must be concern about guns on the streets of developing countries like Jamaica.
And now, my dear, we're going to sing my favorite Jamaican folk song. I'm going to say it from it was the first song I knew when I was a little girl. It's the first folk song, digging song. Going to school, they were always sort of digging up streets in Kingston. Chichibud, flock of birds. Some of them are hollow. No, I know you say Chichibud and if you say so. Some of them are hollow. A Chichibud, some of them are hollow. Chichibud, some of them are hollow. Some are come down, some of them are hollow. Some are blue.
That's all the time we have left on this station. Do join us again tomorrow for another informative installment of Jamaica Magazine. Missed aspects of today's program? Watch it in full on jis.gov.jm. And while there, catch up on similar content. From all of us here at the GIS, have yourselves a wonderful Sunday. I'm Adrian Atkinson. See you next time.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.